I have 3 children, twin boys and a daughter. At the beginning, I was doing it with others. Then eventually, I was such a mess that nobody wanted to be around me. So I was doing it alone for a while. So out of touch with reality and what is normal that you just can't see how far from that you are. I was emaciated. I'd lost about 40 pounds in those 3 weeks. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. I went a full 12 days without sleeping, just focused entirely on getting high all the time. That stuff was bringing me further and further away from reality. I was literally out of my mind, just a mess. First time you ingest the bath salts, you are immediately paranoid, and it only gets worse from there. Honestly, when I look back on it, none of the specific attributes of the high were anything enjoyable. It's even hard to explain to myself. I literally think that something shifted in the bone structure of my face. There are lines of my face that were never that way before. It sounds kind of funny, but I think the term monkey dust may have come from the literal resemblance to monkeys after they've been on it for a certain period of time. The ears sticking out and the hollow cheeks and the bones showing in the face and the wild hair all over the place literally look like chimpanzees. I mean, I've seen people behaving in such ridiculous manners and becoming so violent. Even gentle people, when they're on that stuff, they're just capable of things that they would never otherwise do. Just handle with caution. Give these people a wide berth. They don't even know what they're doing. There's no quicker way to just be completely out of touch with reality and out of control than to do that stuff. If you want to live, stay away from it. I've never seen a drug so destructive.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Hi, we're Mike and Mike. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
First, I'd like to point out the final shot of that video when I put it together, the scene of the bridge. That was not bath salt related. There have been a couple of incidents where people have either attempted to jump off the bridge or unfortunately succeeded, but that was not one of them, and we wanted to make sure that that was clarified and also give the Bangor Daily our thanks for allowing us to use that photo.
In the interest of journalistic integrity.
Which we have none of, really, usually.
Really grateful that all of you are here tonight. There are a lot of people working to pull this together. It was about a month ago, we sat down after the show one day because, as you know, bath salts incidents have been in the news every day for months. And if anything, the problem is worse now than it was a month ago when we started talking about this. But there's still so much confusion about what this drug is, which is really one of the big reasons why we wanted to have this event tonight. So we reached out to our friends at the Acadia Hospital, the Bangor Police Department, Eastern Maine Medical Center. We told them what we wanted to do. We contacted the Gracie Theater. We spoke with the New England School of Communications. We spoke with our area television stations. Everyone that we spoke with agreed to be part of tonight because they realize this is the biggest problem Bangor is facing right now. And if you had asked us 6 months ago, would you believe that by the time autumn arrives, the biggest problem in Bangor will share a name with something that you put in the tub to soften your skin and make you smell good?
Yeah, it's a lot of confusion. People don't realize it's not Epsom salts. It's not bath salts that you put in the tub. That's just street slang for this cocktail of synthetic drugs that has some very, very serious side effects, including psychotic episodes. People don't know who they are, where they are. The gentleman that was speaking on that interview, he was awake for 12 days on this stuff, and he'd only done it for 3 weeks, and it just, if he hadn't been arrested, he'd be dead. He says so himself.
So we hope to get some answers to questions for you tonight, such as exactly what this stuff is, also what it isn't. Where does it come from? You've already heard about some of the effects that it's had on users. How severe is the problem? Will the problem ever go away? And if not, how do we get our arms around it to at least reduce its impact and presence in our area? So our panelists tonight include Lieutenant Tom Regan from the Bangor Police Department, Chief Ron Gastra from the Bangor Police Department, Dr. Anthony Ng from the Acadia Hospital, and Dr. Jonathan Busco from Eastern Maine Medical Center.
And immediately following their brief presentations, we will have a question and answer session. And again, we're going to keep this as brief as possible, but try to get as much information out to you as we can.
We hope that you'll have some questions for our panelists. We'll come down to you if you raise your hand. To our friends in the balcony, if you let us know that you have questions, just come on down if you could. That would be awesome, and we'll be able to relay your questions, or you can ask our panel directly. We're also taking questions online from our local TV stations, from the Mike and Mike page, and also from the Main Edge tonight, where people have submitted questions. And we hope to get some answers for you this evening. We'd like to introduce our very first speaker from the Bangor Police Department, Lieutenant Tom Regan.
Good evening. My name is Tom Regan with the Bangor Police Department. I'm a nighttime patrol lieutenant. I've been with the Bangor Police Department for 23 years. I am one of the department's drug recognition experts. One of my specialties is recognizing people who are under the influence of drugs and successfully prosecuting them. Today we're going to talk about bath salts. The bath salts, what we're dealing with is a powder that's typically white, sometimes brown, a few colors in between, a few shades in between. We call it monkey dust on the street. Bath salts, monkey dust, same thing. What it is a group of synthetic cathinones. And the cathinones mimic something from the khat plant, K-H-A-T, khat plant. And those, what they've done is isolated the best parts of the khat plant and made it up and make it readily available in that form. It's a stimulant. It's like cocaine or MDMA, which is ecstasy, or Ritalin. They take it for that effect. They want that rush, that euphoria. And that's the reason they take it. Most of these drugs we're seeing on the streets are not in the packages that you see a lot in the media, the Cloud9, things like that. We're not seeing a lot of that packaging. What we're seeing is a small Ziploc baggies, because this drug comes mainly from Southeast Asia, southern China, Pakistan, a belt right through there. And then from there, it comes in through Europe. Europe's been dealing with this probably for about 8 years, so that when I ask one of these doctors, what are the long-term effects of this, they have to go looking towards Europe, because it's not really new here. Actually, there's not really a lot of time here. What this is a great marketing job. They call it bath salts to get it into the country. Bath salts has nothing to do with Bed Bath & Beyond or any of those things. There's two totally separate things. In order to get it by the FDA, they stamp it not for human consumption, believe it or not, and sell it as bath salt, research chemicals, and plant food. In the Midwest, what we're seeing now is that the word's out. You don't do bath salts. Bath salts are bad. Let's try the toy cleaner, the jewelry cleaner, and the glass cleaner. So the marketing, they've changed it slightly. Same product, so it's still out there. The U.S., the first cases were in 2008. In 2010, it really started getting real big in this country. And most states started making it out illegal in 2011. Last I knew, there were 33 states. They may have increased slightly. Maine, of course, has a law we'll talk about shortly. One more point there. Well, the effects, we'll talk about the effects first. What we're seeing on the streets is hyperactivity, anxiety, extreme paranoia, hallucinations, that kind of agitation. This really came to light to us during the spring. We had a few cases coming up, and then we're kind of curious about what was going on, and we started recognizing things, and we started really having a real flood of things. What we're dealing with is people who take this for the rush effect, the stimulation, and eventually that stimulation goes away. They don't have that rush anymore. But what they'll have is the paranoia. Anybody who uses it will tell you that the paranoias are there. They're coming. They're right behind you. They're coming for you. And what we're dealing with is typically the paranoid state. We don't deal with a lot of them in that good euphoric state, they'll call it. So we're dealing with the paranoid people. And they're doing all kinds of crazy things. They're seeing things. They're hearing things. Almost always, someone's out to harm them. So that's what we deal with on the street most of the time. The extreme paranoia, the agitation, the anxiety, those kind of things. You're not going to find this available in the streets anymore. Most of it we can get, well, most people get it through the internet, and if you just go on the Google, you can find it over there. A lot of it comes from Europe, so that's what we're dealing with. Our median age, probably across the country, I read a paper from May, across the country, our median age is 35 years old. What our usual user that we're seeing, including the ones I've been doing a lot of interviews with, are people who consider themselves long-term drug users. Personally, I haven't seen any entry level. I know they're there. I know they're all over the place, but I haven't seen any entry-level drug users on this. We got to get the word out there that this drug is bad. You don't want to do it. You don't want to sample it. You don't want to try it. So that's why I'm glad you guys are all here tonight. Thank you for your time.
Tonight is a gentleman familiar to most people in this building. I spoke with him a couple of weeks ago for an article I wrote about the Main Edge, and he said something to me that we've referenced on the air many times, that the Bangor Police Department, the problems that they've seen connected with bath salts, more severe than all of the other drugs combined, from heroin to cocaine to methadone to ecstasy to LSD, marijuana. Combine all of that stuff, and bath salt still dwarfs it, which is a very freaky concept when you think about that.
We're also starting to hear rumors that drug dealers are cutting other drugs with the bath salts as well. And so you really don't know what you're getting. That's a pretty dangerous combination.